Namaste, good morning, and welcome to TimesHealth Plus. I am Dr. Sneha Rathi. I am a musculoskeletal physiotherapist and a certified yoga teacher from the Yoga Institute, Santa Cruz, Mumbai. I combine the techniques of physiotherapy and yoga and give the best results to my patients through them. Today, we are going to discuss about a topic that is very much known by most of you, but we need to get into the details of it, maybe the smaller things that we need to know about it. And it is nothing but yoga for flexibility and mobility. Right. So I'm sure everybody knows we all want to remain pain free and we want to have good mobility at our joints. And so we always think, that if we want to remain pain free, we have to be flexible, which is absolutely true that the flexibility is one of the very important components to remain pain free. But do we understand flexibility in complete detail? Okay, that's very, very important. We need to understand flexibility and mobility in more detail. Okay, so that we can actually many a times we have seen that people start stretching a lot. Okay, so we stretch, and that's when we feel okay, now this is a good way to keep the joints healthy. But is that the only thing that is required whenever we are practicing yoga? Okay, so this is a very important component to understand. What is flexibility, what is mobility, and what are the components that are essential whenever you are trying to establish flexibility in your body. Okay, so this is what we are going to discuss in this session. It's going to comprise of understanding the difference between flexibility and mobility. The second part of the session is understanding the difference between active stretching and passive stretching. Okay, and the third component is we are going to understand how the breath can lead to joint freedom. Okay, freedom in the mobility of the joint. Incorporating breath and emotions into your practice is going to be very beneficial for you to get good results. All right, so let's get started with the first part, that is understanding the difference between flexibility and mobility. Okay, so if you know, you can comment it in the chat box. What do you think is the difference between flexibility and mobility? Okay, two very similar terms, but they mean something different. Okay, so what do you think is flexibility and what do you think is mobility? You can write it in the chat box if you know what is the difference between the two. Okay, so most of the times whenever we are practicing yoga asanas, we focus a lot on the flexibility component. Okay, so flexibility is nothing but the length of the muscle that is established, okay, whenever you are stretching. Okay, so what is the length of the muscle, okay, which will allow the joint to move freely? Okay, so that is nothing but flexibility or the extensibility of the tissues. Okay, so for example, whenever we do a forward fold or a paschimottanasana, we are trying to get a good flexibility of the hamstrings, we are trying to get a good flexibility of the back muscles. Okay, so that's what is the meaning of flexibility. But when we talk about mobility, okay, so mobility has some other components as well. Definitely flexibility is a part of mobility, but mobility also has active control, strength, stability, neuromuscular coordination. All these are also important whenever we talk about mobility. Okay, so it's not just that whenever we are practicing yoga asanas, we just have to focus on stretching and establishing the length of the muscle. Okay, but it's also important to establish the good mobility. Okay, when I'm talking about mobility, if I am stretching a muscle to a particular extent, so suppose if I'm going side bend, okay, if I can stretch the muscle to this extent, okay, I also need to have adequate control to go till that point. Okay, it's not just that I have to just stretch the muscle and that's enough. That's not enough. Along with the stretch, the stability is very important, the control is very important. So if you have a freedom of movement, your control becomes exceptionally important. Okay, so if you have the freedom to move your shoulder to a full extent, it's also very important that your shoulder has the control while moving to that extent. Okay, without control, flexibility will be of no use. Okay, so that is why we also need to consider control whenever we are training flexibility. So this is about the chief differences between flexibility and mobility. And while I'm going to take the session and the different asanas, I'm going to tell you, okay, what is flexible and what is mobile. So you will be able to understand it much better as we go through the session. Another component of stretching is active and passive stretching. Okay, so what is active stretching? Active stretching is nothing but when you're trying to stretch a muscle actively by moving the joint. That means your own control. When I'm trying to, suppose if I'm bending sideways, when I'm doing this movement actively by my own control, that is what is active stretching. Okay, so the muscle is getting stretched by my movement that is initiated by me. That is called as an active stretch. What is passive stretch? Okay, passive stretch is nothing but any external force or external medium is used to create a stretch to the muscle. It could be done by a therapist, okay, or a yoga trainer who is stretching your muscle, okay, who is putting the joint in that position and trying to stretch with his force. Okay, another can be gravity, when you're putting your body towards gravity and the gravity is helping you to stretch. Okay, another thing can be you are using some prop to stretch the muscle, so you're using like a strap or something. That is nothing but when the muscle is relaxed and you're trying to put it into stretch, that is passive stretching. And when you are actively contracting the other muscles and then trying to put a particular muscle into stretch, that is nothing but active stretching. Okay, in yoga most of the times we incorporate active stretching, which is we put a muscle into stretch, okay, by going into a certain posture or position. That's what we do. So we put a muscle in active stretch in yoga. But sometimes passive stretch is very, very important, especially when your muscles are weak in a particular direction and you cannot go into that position, because of which the tightness is developing in opposite muscles. You must have seen patients who have had some weaknesses or some kind of paralysis. They go into certain tightnesses, okay, because their muscles are not strong enough to do the movement. In that case, passive stretching becomes very, very important. Okay, so that's why both have their own importance, active stretching as well as passive stretching. All right, so this was about the chief, just the basic introduction of the different components of flexibility and mobility. Okay, now let's look into what are the different asanas that you can do. And as always, I go into the smaller details of the asanas. I'm going to share with you what are the things that you need to keep in mind whenever you are stretching a particular muscle in a particular asana. Okay, so let's go on to starting with our asana practice. All right, so we can stand on our mats and we are going to start with the warm up. Namaste, Neeluji. Okay, let's start with the warm up. We keep 1 foot distance between our feet. Okay, now before stretching, warm up is very, very important. Okay, because first you have to put the joint into the normal range of motion. And then once you start working on the normal range of motion and the muscles are warmed up, then the stretch will be much better. Whereas colder muscles can be more stiff and difficult to stretch and can also be injury prone. That is why warm up is very, very important whenever we are talking about stretch. Okay, let's start first with the neck movement. So we are going to take the neck up and down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to turn the neck to either sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are going to drop the head to either sides. 1. Now you can feel the stretch on the opposite side whenever you're dropping the head. 2. But this is an active stretch because I'm moving the joint and that is causing the stretch. 4, 5, 6, 7. It would have been a passive stretch had I placed my hand over here and then tried to stretch the joint, because this is entirely done by an external force of my hand. Okay, but when I'm moving my neck actively and trying to stretch a particular muscle, it is an active stretch. All right, next we are going to start with the shoulder movement. So you can keep your hands on the shoulders and slowly turn your shoulders around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we go the other way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Next, we are going to go for wrist rotations. So we just rotate the wrist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the other way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would also like you to observe your wrist range of motion by taking the wrist up completely and down completely. Okay, normally about 80 to 90 degrees of range of motion is available at the wrist. Okay, so if you move the wrist joint up fully and down fully, you will notice how much your wrist is moving. I have seen many a times in either of these direction, the wrist range of motion is restricted. Sometimes people only have this much range of motion. In that case, you need to give some passive overpressure to increase the range on a daily basis. Okay, only then the increased range will be observed. Okay, if your range is not complete and you are just moving in this range, you need to make sure that you're going till the end that is available to you. Okay, that is very, very important. So keep observing your range of motion as you are practicing warm-ups also. Okay, next we are going to go for some twisting. So you can increase the distance between your feet slightly. Hold your hands in front of you and turn to either sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we did some rotation. Now we are going to do some hip movements. Okay, so let's start by rotating the hip out and back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we do it on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so we have just rotated, created some mobility at the hip joint. Now we are going to go for ankle movements. So you can just rotate your ankle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, on the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now I'll give you a chief difference between flexibility and mobility. When you're talking about the ankle, the amount of movement that my ankle can do, okay, suppose I can stretch my ankle up to this range. Okay, if you can see my ankle, I am stretching it up to this range. This is the flexibility of my calf muscles that is allowing the ankle to come up. Okay, but if I talk about mobility, okay, so if I'm standing and I'm trying to take my ankle up, okay, this is the mobility part. Okay, so this also requires the strength of these muscles that are in front. Okay, it definitely requires the flexibility of the calf, this movement, but it also requires the strength of the front muscles. So this is the difference between flexibility and mobility. Okay, flexibility will be just talking about the extensibility of the muscle, but mobility will include the strength part as well. Okay, so that's the difference, and that's what we need to understand whenever we are doing yoga. We need to establish both the things together. Okay, so with this, I'm going to start with some of the asanas. So we are going to start with Ekpadasana, and I'm going to explain, okay, what is very important to note in that. Now we stand on one leg. We slowly take the other leg up and keep it on the inner thigh. Okay, now slowly join the hands in front of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And slowly relax. We repeat it on the other side. Join the hands in front of you. Stay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And relax. So whenever we are talking about Ekpadasana, we generally ask you to keep your leg on the inner thigh and point the knee outwards. Okay, so whenever you're trying to do this particular movement, okay, so this needs a lot of flexibility at the hip area, at the inner thigh area, okay, and as well as the knee area. Okay, so these three areas should be flexible and free. But when we are talking about pushing your knee behind, it's very important that the opposite side leg has to be extremely stable when you are doing that. Unless this is stable, if you try to push this behind, and if your body is also turning along with pushing this behind, then there is no point. That is why whenever you're trying to do any particular movement or asana, it's very important to first check the stability of the opposite side. This opposite side has to be stable. Only then you will be able to exclusively push the knee or the hip behind. Okay, because otherwise it is not effective. In fact, if you try to push this behind and you also turn your other side forward, in that case your knee or ankle may develop some pain. Okay, so it's very important that you keep the other areas stable and then try to work on opening up any particular joint. This is going to come further as well as we keep practicing the different asanas. I'm going to explain you how stability becomes very important whenever you are talking about flexibility or stretching. Okay, let's repeat this asana once again. So we will start again. Keep your ankle or foot on the inner thigh. Slowly join your hands in front. Stay there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And slowly relax. Do it on the other side. Join your hands. Stay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And slowly relax. Okay, now as I was doing the Ekpadasana, okay, it is very, very important that you ensure that your upper body is also straight. In case if the knee range of motion is not sufficient and you're not able to reach the inner thigh, it's okay to start moving first up the leg. Okay, but avoid standing with the foot directly at the knee. Okay, because if you try to push your foot on the knee, it might end up creating an unequal force at the knee, and then later you might develop some pain. So it is very important that you try to keep foot either on the shin or on the inner thigh area. Okay, whatever is possible, you can try to reach there. In case if this flexibility is not available, start by doing this, keeping the leg on the foot on the leg area. Slowly every day try to push yourself a little bit and hold that position for some time. Okay, so that your body realizes what are you expecting, then it will automatically work to reach that position. All right, so slow and steady is definitely the way to approach any particular asana. Okay, and establish the correct mobility. Let's do this asana once again. We're going to stand on one leg. Try to keep the leg on the inner thigh area. Slowly join your hands and stay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Slowly relax and release. We do it on the other side. Stay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And relax and release. So many a times what happens is due to the clothing, our foot tends to slip off the clothing. But it's if you know, as you keep practicing, you will realize that even if the clothing is a little slippery, if you have good strength in the hip, okay, in this hip, and if you have good strength in the knee, you will be able to hold the foot on the inner thigh very easily. It won't slip off that easily. All right, so it's all about practice, practice, practice. The more you practice, the better it gets. Okay, let's go on to the next asana, that is Hasta Padasana. Okay, so which is nothing but we are going to stretch our hamstrings and the back muscles. So I'm going to tell you, you have to keep your feet together. Inhaling, take your hands up. Exhaling, bend forward.
And stay there. Now we are using gravity to stretch our leg muscles. Okay, so it is kind of a passive stretch which is put on the hamstrings and the calves. Stay 3, 4, 5, 6, and slowly come up. 1,
2, 3, and relax. So, we have a beautiful thing about this, okay, about the yoga asanas. It not just trains your flexibility, it trains your strength at the same time, okay? Because when we are going into the pose, if you observe the Hasta Padasana, okay, if you see this, I'm going down.
So when I'm going down, I'm actually stretching my muscles all along. Okay, now this is stay there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now when I'm coming up, okay, I'm actually activating all the muscles which I just stretched.
So I'm also doing an active contraction when I'm coming up. Okay, it's so important. If you are flexible in a particular range and you don't train the strength, okay, then it's not good, because you have not developed the control of that muscle. You have just stretched the muscle. Okay, it's very important to also actively train the muscle for the contraction or strengthen the muscle. Okay, so Hastpadasana is actually serving both the purposes. Okay, now let's go for one round of Hastpadasana. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2,
3, stretch. Stay there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 1,
2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. Now, what is the importance of breath with this? Okay, if you notice, we have a certain tendency in our body. Okay, whenever we are stretching a particular muscle, if we do a jerky stretch, okay, it is the body's natural tendency to detect it as it's going to cause an injury, and that's why it will go into reflex muscle contraction and try to avoid that movement. Okay, so if a stretch, if you we are trying to stretch it in a jerky way, a body may realize, and that's what happens most of the times when people get a catch in the back. They were bending to lift something up and suddenly you get a catch. It's literally like the body's reflex contraction that is happening to protect you from injury. Okay, now but when we incorporate breath into the movement, okay, what happens is the body is ready for that movement. Okay, it does not detect it as danger, or it does not detect it that it is going to get injured, and that's why it allows the muscle to lengthen, to stretch very easily. Okay, this is the importance of breath whenever we are doing any particular yoga asana. Okay, so breathing normal or following the inhalation exhalation pattern is very, very important whenever you are doing any yoga asana. Okay, so let's do it once again. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale,
1, 2, 3. Stay there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale.
1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. What happens with such a forward bend stretch usually is that when we are bending forward, if the flexibility of the hamstrings or the calves or the plantar aspect of the foot is not enough, okay, and you keep doing the forward bending stretch, it can create excessive mobility at the spine. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. Suppose if this was tight, okay, I'll try to go down, and if I'm not able to reach the ground, I might try to stretch more. Okay, and what will happen in that case is your spine, your upper back may get stressed more. Okay, that's why it's very important that you realize, okay, how or where you need to work on the flexibility part. It's not just about reaching the ground, it's also about understanding where in the body you need more flexibility. So try to understand maximum about your own body, where you need to work. If you know where to focus on, you will be able to execute everything very perfectly, and you will be more or less injury free, or less prone to aches and pains in the body. That's why area of focus should definitely be known by you whenever you are doing any particular asana. We'll do it once again, Hastpadasana. Okay, let's try it and try to identify where you are restricting in range of motion. Is it the hamstrings? Is it the calves? Is it the foot? Is it the back? Where exactly is the restriction? Okay, inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale,
1, 2, 3. Stay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale.
1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. All right. So this was about Hastpadasana. Now, since we are creating flexibility, we also need to take care of mobility, as I always said. So for that, if you are able to do Hastpadasana, you should also be able to do Trikonasana 1. Okay, which is nothing but, again, we keep the legs together. We keep our hands at the shoulder level. Inhale, exhaling, bend forward with your spine straight, look straight, point your hand towards your toes and stay there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhaling, come back. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. All right. So if you know how to forward bend, you should also know how to control the movement of forward bend. Okay. So that is why Trikonasana 1 becomes very important. Let's do it once again. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Stay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. If you are doing it rightly, you will get some localized stretch in the hamstrings and the calf muscles. Okay, that's where it is going to work. Plus, since we are going towards gravity, it's also exerting a good control from the muscles which are posterior in the leg. Okay, so let's do it once again. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Stay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. So while the earlier asana was kind of a passive stretch, this is more active stretch, okay, because we are controlling the movement. While in the previous one, there was gravity, which was allowing us to fall towards it. Okay, so a little bit of difference between the two asanas. So this was Trikonasana 1. Next, we are going to go for Konasana. So we are going to go 2.5 foot distance between our feet. Now I'm going to tell you where to focus whenever you are doing Konasana. Okay, 3. Now what we are going to do is keep our hands in front. Your hands become very important because they are going to guide the movement. I'll show you what is the right one. First, I'll just show you what is the movement or the asana. Then I'm going to talk about what are the details that you need to look into. Keep your hands in front of you. Inhale, take your hands towards the side. Look at your right hand. Exhaling, bend forward. Try to touch the left foot. Turn your head up. Stay there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Now turn your neck to the other side. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Stay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let me tell you what happens most of the times is when we go down like that, we tend to position the arm at the end. Okay, so once we have gone down and we have achieved that we are contacting the other foot, okay, then we tend to position the arm. This movement kind of can create a lot of pain near the shoulder blade area, or it can create a kind of cramping sensation. Okay, which is why when you are doing Konasana 3, it's very good if you allow your hands to guide the movement. Okay, so you try to allow your hands, keep your hands where they are at the shoulder level, and then allow them to guide the movement of the thorax as well. That is going to be very beneficial, and it will not create any kind of pain or cramping because your arms are guiding the movement. Okay, so try to do it with that in mind, and let's see what's the difference. Keep your hands in front of you. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Look at your right hand. Now allow your hand to guide the movement. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Stay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Look at the other hand. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Stay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. So if you notice, the entire movement was happening in a sync. Okay, there was a very sequential manner where I was turning my hand, turning my head. Okay, if you do it sequentially, your body will know which muscles to activate, which joints to move, and it will work with its own intelligence. Okay, but if you change the movement and try to position or adjust towards the end with your arm somewhere else, it's going to be difficult. Let's do it once again. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. Stay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Look at the other hand. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. Stay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay. Next, we are going to go for one more standing asana, which is nothing but Utkat asana. Okay. Why I'm showing you this? Because again, I want to show you the difference between active mobility or active control. Okay. So when we are doing Utkat asana, we definitely need full knee range of motion. Okay. Since we are coming up on the ankles, okay, on the heels, with the heels up, ankle range of motion is somehow bypassed. Okay. But knee range of motion is full over here. Okay, so let's see Utkatasana once and then we will see about the control. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. Stay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Stay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. All right. Now, when we are talking about Utkatasana, okay, sometimes I have seen that while going down, people have control in the partial range, but after a particular range, they tend to fall. Okay, so that is just a signal that we need to work active on the active control of that particular range. More strength needs to be deployed in that range. Okay, so what you can do is you can go up and go till the range where you feel you have good control. Try to hold over there itself instead of trying to complete the movement with this kind of collapsing movement. Try to hold in that position where you feel till where you feel you have the control, and every day keep practicing in that particular range. You will notice eventually you are able to go down much better and come up much better. But try to practice with a calm mind so that your body understands that it has to work in that particular range. All right. So we are going to go for Utkatasana once again. 1 foot distance. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Try to go slowly down. 1, 2, 3. Yes, that's like the control. Okay, stay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now slowly up, push yourself up. 1, 2, 3. Stay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go down. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is how you practice slowly. Slower the movement, more control is required to do the movement. Okay, so that's why if you try to do it very slowly, it's going to be a little more difficult, but it will also improve your strength of the muscle. So this was Utkatasana. Okay, in case if you're not able to go down completely and even this is difficult, you can always try to keep your back against the wall. Place the foot a little bit ahead and then try to practice this transition first. Okay, so go down and come up first. But what happens when we practice this wall squats is people tend to just push their knees behind and come up. That shouldn't happen. When you are going down in a wall squat, you need to use your thighs, you need to use your glutes, you need to use your core, and then try to push yourself up so that the muscles are being used. Okay, unless you use the muscles, it's not going to make much of a difference. Okay, let's go on to some sitting postures. We are going to discuss some sitting postures now. So I'm going to sit down. Let's see one of the most uh, commonly practiced but difficult asana, that is Parvatasana. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about what happens in this in people with little less flexibility or a less strength length balance. Okay. Now we take the hands up, stay there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and slowly take the hands down. 1, 2, 3. So what happens sometimes when you have some tightnesses in the thigh, or you have weaker muscles in the gluteal area or weaker core? Okay, as soon as you start taking the hands up, you may tend to lean behind and your knees might come up. Okay, because the base is not stable. Okay, in that case, what we need to do is first start practicing Sukhasana on a regular basis. Try to keep your knees down. If in case the knees are a little up, you can start by slowly giving hints to the glutes to squeeze in and try to push the knee down and stay in that position with an active contraction. Okay, try to do that first. Okay, just stretching the knee down might not be of help, because sometimes you need to fire the nervous system which is in the opposite side. Okay, only then the hip will be able to open up. All right, so first just start practicing Sukhasana. Okay, then try to take your hands up. If you are leaning behind like this, just every day sit in this position and try to give a hint to the body that it has to go in this direction, upward direction. Okay, you can try practicing it every day. Stay calm in that position. Give the hint to the body that it has to go in that direction. And in a few days, you will realize that the right muscles are getting activated automatically. Okay, so this is very, very important. Let's do it once again. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Stay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this was Parvatasana. We are going to go for Paschimottanasana, which is very important stretch for the hamstring. You keep the legs straight. We slowly bend backwards. Exhaling, bend forward. Hold the toe and slowly try to go down. Stay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Slowly come back. 1, 2, 3, and relax. Now, one very important thing again in this is the ratio of flexibility everywhere is very, very important. Okay, so if you're already in this position, okay, somewhere behind, then that means that the hamstrings and calves definitely need a lot of work to improve the flexibility. Okay, in that case, you have to first start sitting in Dandasana position. Try to stretch yourself up, okay, so that the right kind of mechanics is established in your back. Okay, from going from this position and directly trying to stretch can be a little challenging. Okay, because if the stretch is not in the right place, it's going to strain your back. So that's why try to first sit in Dandasana and then go for Paschimottanasana. Okay, let's practice this once again. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Stay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. All right. Another important thing is when you're doing Paschimottanasana, your knees shouldn't be flexed. They have to be straight and on the ground. All right. Let's do it once again. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Stay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this was Paschimottanasana. Next, I'm going to share with you a side stretch. So you keep one leg out, one leg in like this. Keep one hand on the opposite thigh and slowly take the other hand up and try to stretch as much as you can. Stay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exhaling, come back. 1, 2, 3. Now, one of the very important principles of stretching is whenever you stretch, you want to stretch a particular muscle, there has to be stability in the other areas. Okay. So many a times I have seen that when people tend to go like this and they are just focusing on the stretch on the side of the body, okay, what happens is their opposite leg comes up like this and they keep going down trying to reach the other foot. Okay. So now the stretch is not just over here in this particular position, there is also stretch on the inner thigh area. Okay. So it is very important that your knee is held down. So in case if what is happening is when you're going sideways, if the knee is starting to come up at a particular point, you just stay there. Okay, where the knee is starting to come up, stop over there and try to hold that position. Okay, and then come back. If you try to go down with the knee coming up as well, you're going to create a lot of stresses on the back and other areas. It's not going to be an effective stretch. And which is why you have to, it's just an indication from the body that you have to stop over there and first train the stability over there. Then probably you can go down further. All right, we'll do it on the other side. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Stay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Also, if your body is tending to turn forward, bend forward or something, okay, that's also an indication that somewhere the flexibility is affected or the mobility is affected. So we need to work on that. In that case, till where you can go perfectly, try to go till there and hold that position. Okay, stay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. All right, we repeat it once again. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Stay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. All right, so this was a side stretch. I'm also going to show you one extension pose because I want you to know what should be the position of the back. So we are going to go for Ushtrasan. Here also we are going to stretch, create a stretch on the quads. Okay, but now very important in Ushtrasan is again from where you are putting the effort. So when we do Ushtrasan, we keep the hands behind. Inhaling, push the hips forward, open the chest and stay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And go down slowly and relax. Okay, over here you will feel some stretch in front of the thigh. Okay, now what is very important is when we are doing Ushtrasan, the effort is equally from the back as well as the glutes and the legs or the thighs. Okay, it shouldn't be that you are just arching the back, going on arching the back, and you're not having enough flexibility over here. In that case, what will happen is your back may start hurting. So it's important that there is equal effort from all the parts which are coming into play in that particular asana. Let's do it. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Stay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. All right. It's okay if you are able to rise up only a little bit. That's fine. Okay. If this is the only way that you can rise up, you can slowly work on pushing it a little further and holding that position. A hold will actually create the impact. Okay. So holding is very important. Let's do it once again. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Stay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. And go for one forward bend, Balasana.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And come back.
1, 2, 3. So counter pose also becomes very effective. We are going to go for a last few asanas in the lying down position. So we're going to turn on one side and lie down. The first one is Hasta Padangushtasana, wherein we bend the knee, hold the toe, and slowly straighten the leg as much as possible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And slowly down. We do it on the other side. Stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Slowly down. Okay. Now again, very important in this is if you are able to go up till here, it's fine to stay in this position, but you need to keep giving the leg the direction that it has to straighten up. Okay. So if you stay straighten, give that direction and hold that position every day, you will slowly realize that the leg is opening up. Okay. So it's very important that you keep giving the direction internally from your mind to the body in which direction it has to move. Let's do it once again. Hold the toe. Slowly straighten. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Relax. The other side. I'm breathing normal throughout. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Relax and release. Okay, so this was about Hasta Padangushtasana. If this is also not possible, it's okay to hold the thigh like this and first work on straightening the knee. This is the first step, and also practicing Pavan Muktasana every day. Okay, then you will be able to stretch it out more. Okay, so this was about Hasta Padangushtasana. Next, we are going to go for Supta Vakrasana. So we keep our hands on the side 90 degrees. Bend both the knees, feet together. Inhale and exhaling. Go towards the side, turn your head to the opposite side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Come back to the center. Do it on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Come back to the center. Okay, this is a fairly simple pose. Just you have to make sure that your legs are not misaligned, but they are on top of each other. Okay, so inhale, exhaling. 1, 2, 3. Stay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale, other side. 1, 2, 3. Stay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Okay. We will go for one back extension. So we go on our abdomen and we will do Bhujangasana in two ways, and I'm going to explain you the difference between the two. First, I'm going to go for Bhujangasana variation, which is full extension. In that case, you can keep a little distance between your legs. Keep your forehead on the ground. Inhaling, rise up completely using your hands and stay there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And slowly go down. 1, 2, 3. This can also be done with legs together, but it's going to be a little more challenging. Okay. So inhale. 1, 2, 3. Stay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. exhale. 1, 2,
3. All right.
So these are two ways of doing full Bhujangasana. The first one is an easier version. The next one is a little difficult when you're keeping the legs together. But in case if in both of these versions you're facing some pain in the lower back, it indicates that you need to develop some control in the lower back before you go on for the full extension. So you start practicing the original version of Bhujangasana, which is trying to recruit your back muscles and glutes, and trying to raise up halfway first. Okay, so that is nothing but you keep your heels together, legs together,
Forehead on the ground, hands by the side of your chest. Inhale.
rise up using your back muscles and your glutes and stay there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling down.
I'm going to repeat this once again. Inhale.
1, 2, 3. Stay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 1, 2,
3. And you can relax in Makarasana for 2 minutes. Just try to calm down your breath. It will slowly, just observe your breath. It will automatically slowly calm down. Just try to leave your body loose as much as possible. Relax and surrender to gravity. In Makrasana, we keep the great toe together and heels apart. Once you have relaxed completely, you can slowly turn on one side and get up.
Okay, so relaxation is definitely an important component and it needs to be longer. Okay, so because relaxation also kind of balances your nervous system, so it's very, very important to relax completely. Okay, so these were some of the asanas that I wanted to share with you, okay, which are very important for flexibility. But with flexibility is there is a lot of responsibility to develop the right control, stability, okay, the neuromuscular coordination, and which is why flowing with the breath through the asanas is the best practice to do. And trying to hold the posture in a comfortable position, okay, can be really good. Try to push 5% every day. Okay, push yourself to 5% extra. That is the slow and steady way of approaching the body is going to work very well. Okay, so that's how you can go ahead by practicing these asanas. With this, I come to the task of the week, which is please practice Paschimottanasana that I showed today every day for 15 seconds. Okay, you can try and figure out where exactly is the restriction and try to work through that. You can click a picture of this and upload it on Instagram and tag Times Health Plus. You can also follow Times Health Plus on the Instagram and YouTube channels for more tips and recommendations related to yoga. Now let's see if there are any questions. Okay, Sarosh ji, thank you so much. It's really very motivating to read your comments. Ajay ji, good morning. All right, so I think that's about it for today. So these were some of the tips. You can try working on the different aspects that I have mentioned and experience what exactly is happening within your body. Try to flow with your breath. I'll see you next Sunday. Till then, make sure you stay present, move gently, and take care of yourself. Thank you and namaste.